welcome to another episode of Ask the Zamboni Experts. I'm your host, Marty Elliott, and our guest on today's podcast is our good friend, Jörgen Åström, who is our managing director of Zamboni Europe. Jörgen, welcome.
Thank you, Marty. Great to be here.
Well, thanks for taking the time to sit down with me and talk about Zamboni Europe. Let's get right into this, Jörgen. How long have you been around the Zamboni machine? And prior to actually becoming Zamboni Europe, why don't you walk the audience through how that took place?
Yeah, me personally have only been in the business since 2004, so
Okay.
not so long for our measures in Zamboni. So, but it started in Sweden 1961 with the Rollby in Hedesunda. That is they're still there working, but then it's the Zamboni dealership has been walking through Sweden in different setups with different companies, but we always have followed that with the service. At least for the most of the years, there were a period of about 8-9 years we didn't do service directly under Zamboni, but after that we joined the Zamboni family again in 2016, I think it was.
Right. And when did you actually officially become Zamboni Europe with the Zamboni Company?
I know that very well. That was May 21, 2018.
Do you have the hour when you signed the document?
I think it was about 1 o'clock, just after the lunch.
I love it. Well, having a good feast and then signing a document, win-win for everybody. So whereabouts are you located in Sweden there, Jörgen?
We're located in a small village in, I would say, mid-north Sweden. Sweden is a little bit of a strange country because Stockholm is like middle and everything above is north. So we're kind of about 2 hours from Stockholm.
Right.
Driving.
Okay. Maybe you can share with the audience, what's the organizational chart look like? How many people are working in the factory, working in administration, sales, service? Maybe you can give the audience an idea of what that looks like.
Today we are 16 in total with the service team and all the staff in the office, and we have 5 dedicated service guys that are just more or less doing service. They help out in the workshop when needed, but then it's 5 of them also in the workshop doing production, and then we have one doing parcel shipments, and in sales we have, let's say, in machine and part sales, there's a combination. They were 2. And they have economy and me. That's the team, I think.
There we go. There we go. So you're the corporate headquarters from Zamboni in Europe, in Sweden, and you support our Zamboni authorized dealers, both in Europe and abroad. Can you share with the audience as far as how many rinks you would serve and what that territory looks like?
Oh, I don't have the exact numbers for whole of Europe, but in Sweden we do service in somewhere around 250 to 260 rinks. Depends a little bit on the year, and of course machine sales and that kind of stuff. If they have a new machine, we don't need to do other than the startup service and the 100-hour service. So.
Right.
But in regular, I would say 260.
And when you talk about territories, when it comes to your service team, your technicians that are out and about, how far do they travel, and are their ability to service the machines, both Zamboni Europe machines and the North American machines? How far do they travel for?
Oh, how far do you want them to go? We do Qatar, Berlin, Latvia, Russia if needed. We go everywhere. So.
Well, yeah, and you know what? For the audience listening in those marketplaces and abroad, it's good to know once when they're listening to this podcast that they can reach out to you and your team to be able to get service on the machines if they don't have a local Zamboni authorized dealer. But that's great information to share with the audience. Let's get specifically, Jörgen, if we can, into the actual machines that you're manufacturing. I want to share with the audience, talk about the Model 612, if you can.
Yeah, the Model 612 was built and or invented, I would say, in Sweden by us, and we, as you know, we've been working with Zamboni for a long time in service, and I think we picked a lot of good stuff from there because that's the original, and so a lot of the machine is actually built up as original Zamboni.
Right. So why, I want to interject because this is a really important question. I'm curious of the answer. Why did you decide to design an ice resurfacer? What led you to this? And specifically the 612.
Uh, uh, there's a kind of a funny story. We was with another brand at the time. We were not in the Zamboni, we're not a Zamboni company or a dealer at that time, and we had sold the machine to Denmark. And the problem was that the manufacturer that we were selling the machines from could not get the machine for us, the one we sold. And then we just come up with a, I don't know, crazy idea of building on one of our own. So we've been in the business since, like I said, we have heritage since '61, and I think the oldest of us was started with ice surfers in '85.
Right.
So we had a lot of we were kind of knowing what we were doing. So
Right. So why don't you walk us down the path? What you decided to do was build an ice resurfacer, but what were the most important features that you considered when you began the design process that you wanted to have on that specific ice resurfacer when it came out on the 612?
electric, we have a few hydraulic stuff like lifting cylinders and that kind of stuff, board brush. But otherwise all electric, and also have a very low consumption in the machine by that. So that was also a big issue. You cannot use more electricity than you need to do.
Right, right. So maybe you can share with the audience, Jörgen, what is it about the 612 that stands out compared to your competitors in your marketplace? Maybe you can highlight some of those specifics.
I think that it's very adjustable for uh, the driver. So we normally send the machine over in with the basic factory settings that we like to have in it, but then they drive 2-3 weeks. Then we drive over there and ask them if they want to change. Could be steering radius, could be speed, whatever. Because we have 3 speeds with just a button push, like an old car with an automatic with buttons. But so we try to adjust them down around 7 kilometers per hour, and they actually after some time get used to that, but it takes some time to get them down to speed in Sweden. So
Right. Well, you know what? 7 kilometers an hour is the proper speed between 7 and 8 kilometers an hour, 4.5 to 5 miles an hour. That is the proper speed to operate an ice resurfacer at. Any faster, and then you can create big obstacles and issues with your ice conditions. So let me ask you, maybe we can do a walk around of the actual 612 and share with the audience what that looks like. Talk about the operator and how thoughtful the placement and adjustability of the controls were that you guys designed when you came out with the 612.
yeah, one of the really early features that we wanted to have initially when we started this was good visibility in front of the machine, because that's a huge issue in Sweden with people. They're driving where there is people everywhere around, outdoor the rink. Most of them dump their snow outside the rink, and there's kids and people, and so the good visibility. That's why we have quite an angle on the snow tank. If you've seen the machine, so you have
I have, yeah.
seen that. And then also very important, adjustable steering, the steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So people are different in height. So, and in Sweden, it's becoming to be quite a lot of women working in the industry, and
Mm-hmm.
they are normally shorter than a lot of guys are. So we try to make the machine adjustable for everyone: short people, tall people, big people.
So
So
so what you're saying is your machine is adapting to the torso of the body based on the individual driving the ice resurfacer, which is great versatility based on who's working the arenas in your marketplace, correct?
yeah, we also, I think that was just 4 years ago or something, when we even got the question for having an adjustable the blade angle wheel,
Yes,
blade adjusting wheel. So
yes.
we built that in because it was a demand in a tender, and then it's stuck because it's really nice feature. So
Sure. So you're saying that the operator's right arm, depending how long or short it is, they can adjust the hand crank or hand wheel to adjust the
yeah,
blade based on the position of where their actual hand can be. Because I know some operators that their structure is a little shorter, and conditions of that stationary hand crank, they have to
yeah.
lean to their right to be able to reach the handle to adjust the blade. So you're saying to the audience that they can adjust that position of the hand crank on the ice surfacer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Nice.
So that came from where I was kind of smiling when I see that demand in the tender first, but when I see the staff working at that place, I did understand why they asked for it. So
Right,
one of the guys was almost 2 meters long, and one of them were kind of around 150. So it was a huge difference
right,
with
right.
the people working there. So
Okay. Maybe share with the listeners the touch screen that is on the 612.
yes, we have kind of two touch screens for all the things that you need to push and start on the 612. On the latest version of that, we have as an option a real touch screen with that's 12-inch big that you can modify after your own purpose, and it's
Sorry,
very
did you say the screen is 12 inches?
yes.
Nice, nice.
So with you have all the camera features and everything in it, so and you can adjust it after your what you want to have in it. And for now, we just have it in English and Korean, but I think it can work with about 36 different languages. So it's quite of a nice feature, and it's very easy to update with the language that you want to have. So, but the thought we have is that we can have all the languages in after time, and then that if you have a driver that come from another country working in, like say in Sweden, we have a lot of people from everywhere
Hmm.
working in the ice rinks, so they can choose their own language if they want. So just when they jump up on the screen, so it
Nice.
could be easier, and also for security, I think it's a really good thing.
Expand on that. What do you mean by security? Help me understand that, Jörgen.
If you get the messages in your own language, in your native language,
Hmm.
I think it's easier to understand what the display tells you if you
Right,
have an issue with something.
right. I understand. All right, let's move along. Let's talk about your auto ice system. Share with the audience what that is all about, Jörgen.
Auto ice system is also coming from a demand. We know that the 560 was really early with the auto ice, and it became kind of popular in Sweden. It's
Hmm.
a very nice feature. So we adapted it and took it a little way further. So we have everything starting with just one push of a button. So you start up. First of all, the conditioners goes down,
Hmm.
and it sets the water volumes, or not volumes, but the water levels, output of the water at
Hmm.
the preset that you had from the last run.
Hmm.
So you never need to think about adjusting that up or down because you have a preset that starts up. And after some time, it fills up the wash water system, and that starts also automatically.
Hmm.
And the only thing you need to push on, that's the board brush, if you want to use the board brush or not.
Right.
Otherwise, everything is putting the correct pressure for the conditioner and do everything. It's not steering. You have to steer and you have to use the button for the board brush. And when you stop, you do the same thing. You just push the same button. It goes back and closes everything. So
So for the operator aspect, can they adjust based on the condition of the ice, those presets? Can they make adjustments to those
Yes.
prior to going on the ice, or even while they're starting the flood? Because we know I'll speak to hockey rinks specifically, blue line to goal line is where the most play takes place, and the conditions of the ice are beat up a lot more in those areas. So if they're more beat up in the blue line to goal line compared to the neutral zone, can the operator on the fly actually make adjustments to be able to maintain the same quality?
Yes, they can adjust the ice making water, and they can stop the ice making water, and they can start it again with just you turn the valve normally,
Yep.
but in this
Hmm.
case you just push a button and
You're just pushing a button.
yeah.
Let's talk about your AC motors and controls, and let's talk about the electric part of the machine. Maybe we can share with the audience what all that looks like and how it differentiates your machine to the competitors out there.
We have one electric motor in each wheel that
Hmm.
is have a gear drive also in each wheel. So and then we have electric motors on the augers and for the hydraulics, and also the edger is propelled when they choose to have the option of the Euro edger. That's with an electric PMAC motor.
Hmm.
So it's very low consuming on per run. So in theory, we can do on the standard setup with batteries, we can do 27 resurfacings.
On one 100% charge, is that what you're referring to?
Yes, yep,
Okay.
on one charge. That's not recommended, I would say, because you drain the batteries a bit too hard. But if you think you can or want, you can do it. So
Right, right. What about your speed? Is there any sort of automation to speed control on your machine?
yes, we have speed settings for. Initially, we called it garage speed and ice making speed and transportation speed. Three different speed settings.
Okay.
But I think they have renamed the garage one now to kind of like slow only or something.
Right.
So,
So slow.
but slow is around everything you want slow to be actually, because this is also adjustable. So if you want it to be 4 kilometers per hour or 2, we can adjust that. So, but as I said, the ice making speed we try to set as 7
Hmm.
kilometers per hour.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice. Uh,
and
Go ahead, Jörgen.
the fast speed can be everything up to 30 kilometers per hour. I've been testing that 30. I didn't want to go any higher, but that's quite fast in an ice surfer. So
30 kilometers an hour on an ice surfacer. When would I apply that speed? Where would I be?
I don't know actually. And one other feature that we have, since we have these 4 electric motors in each wheel and quite a complicated digital system to keep track of that instead of the differential as you have in normal axles. So
Hmm.
we have a computer system that feels where every wheel are and what speed they are running at. So
Hmm.
we have done tests, and at doing a 90-degree turn in 16 kilometers per hour, it just you feel a little bit of a just slips a little bit, then it straightens itself up again. So it's like you have in a modern car. It's anti-spin, anti-slip.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't. I know a lot of drivers over here in the North American continent that if they knew they could get this speed on their machines, they'd be ordering it because some of them are crazy. How fast they can
Yeah,
they
but
can do
you
a
don't.
flood in 2 minutes.
Yeah, but they don't do any ice then. So
No,
they.
no, of course not. I haven't seen this, but I know it's an option. Can you share with the audience, because I love this, I can't wait to see it, is the transparent auger viewing panels. What's that mean?
uh, that's actually coming from me being really annoyed when I adjusting the level of the blade.
Okay.
That was the purpose for that, because I most of the times I just take the covers off.
Hmm.
Then I can see when I sitting in the seat.
Hmm.
I can see how much snow it picks up right on the blade because you're right above the blade. And if you have that in transparent plastic like we have, you can see through the plastic, and it's very easy to see if the blade is adjusted correctly.
Right. So you're just speaking of the horizontal auger. What about the
Yes.
vertical auger?
No visible there. Sorry.
Nothing. Okay. Well, I'm just,
So,
yeah, interesting. So there's a number of different manufacturers in your marketplace, Jörgen.
yep.
Differentiates the 612 from your competitors' machines? Share with the audience what is different about yours that they couldn't be able to find on your competitors' machines.
Oh, that's really difficult because in Europe they have the whole range of everything here. So, but I would say that the traction system is quite unique in our machine, and also the speed settings.
Yeah.
If they haven't changed anything today on the other machines, but
Right. As of today, those are the big two standouts.
yeah, and also I think the driver compartment in our machine is kind of nice and adjustable. We're the only one with a adjustable steering wheel and that kind of stuff. So an adjustable
I
blade
like that.
adjusting wheel. So
Blade adjusting wheel. Yeah, those are two neat features, just based on a person's stature, how
yeah.
big or how small they are. So those are what separate the 612 from basically your competitors. What about what is standard on the 612 compared to your competitors, and what are options? Are you offering more what competitors would consider options on their machines, but would be standard on the 612?
Yes, I think that the competitors have more of a kind of different tiers on their machines. They have a budget version and a medium version and a high level version. And I would say that we are in between the mid region and the high grade. We have the side mounted edger, we have joystick, we have the big display, and in those kind of things you can whatever you want to have, we can build it in. So it's more or less so.
Nice, nice. So going back to what you were talking about, the two features that stand out on the 612, both being the adjustment on the steering wheel and the actual hand crank adjustment, would it be fair to say that the ergonomics and the actual operators, let's call it comfort level, is greater with the 612 than most of your competitors' machines out there?
Yeah, I would say so. It's
Hmm.
nice to have the ability to adjust.
Right, right.
If you had a car and the steering wheel was always positioned like they were in the 70s,
Mhm.
you wouldn't buy that car today.
Right. I understand. Let's talk about maintenance on your machines. What's that look like? Maintenance that occurs? Do you offer like a 6 month, a 12 month? Who does the maintenance for your customers' machines? How does that look?
First of all, I think we do all the maintenance on the machines. You know, the impeller is a very normal thing to change, but
Sure.
in this machine they drive about 2 years with the same impeller because we have this protection of getting dry run. So
Well, share with the audience. What's that look like? So you're saying that if someone's not priming the actual pump, wash water pump, where
yeah,
the impeller is being used, is there some sort of alarm system that's set up on your machine?
no, it just won't start. If you have to, it starts by automatic. When you push the water on,
Uh-huh.
you fill up the washing system in the conditioner,
Hmm.
and then after a certain time, it starts the pump. So it cannot start without the water is added first. So
Whereas I'm training operators to count to 10 seconds after they open up the wash water valve, then turn on the wash water pump. You're telling me that this is all automated so that they're not second guessing and they're not blowing out an impeller.
no, and also to be really sure that everything is working, we have this optical viewing that the wash water is coming into the driver department, and you see it just under the steering wheel. You have it like a clear tubing, so you can
Mhm.
see the wash water coming there.
Okay.
So then you have a visual of it too. And for to be really sure that you haven't forgotten anything, we
Hmm.
have also a warning light that is like flashing orange if you forgot to put it on. So
Nice. So keep it simple, but very
yep.
Yeah, very visible to the operator to make sure that things are running properly and doing
Yeah.
what they're supposed to be doing as far as those options. So I'm a customer in a marketplace that you would be looking after. I want a demonstration. Do you offer any sort of product showcase or any sort of demonstrations of your machines? And how often do you offer that, Jörgen?
Yes, we try to do at least 3 or 4 or 5 showcases where we invite people to come to an arena. Normally, there somewhere between 30 and 70 people shows up at the most of the time. So
Nice. What about training? Do your service techs, do they actually do on-ice training for operators? Do you guys offer that service?
yes, all
Nice.
of them can do that. Most Marcus and Anel. I don't know if you met Anel.
No, I haven't met Anel. I've worked with
No,
Marcus over in Iceland, but no, I haven't
yeah.
met Anel. No.
The training courses that for two days actually become 3 days now. They all meet up in the evening
Right.
in a hotel, and then they have the first dinner, say hello to everyone, and then it's theoretic about this safety mostly, I think,
Mhm.
talking through the machines, and then the last day is on ice. So
Right. We're almost finished, and we're going to launch Zamboni Boot Camp, which is certainly aligned with what I think what your team is doing over there. But we'll definitely share that with you and Marcus and Arnell.
yeah, the boot camp thing I really love, and I think the name of it is also catching here in Sweden and the rest of Europe. So I think it's a really good name for it.
How can they reach out to you? How can they contact the Zamboni Europe? What boards can they reach out to you on?
Easiest on the website, I think, to
Okay.
find all the contact information, zamboni.com. So
Mhm.
use that one for send us a message, and we call you back or take contact via email. So.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So have one thing that is coming up, or actually two things that
Mhm.
the 612 have going to into next year. It's going to be the anniversary, a 10-year anniversary of the 612.
Wow. In 10 years.
So
Nice. And Jörgen, those customers that are interested in looking at a 612, they'll be able to go see one in some location, obviously.
yeah, what I can remember now, it's Finland, Poland, Netherlands, Denmark, Sweden, of course,
Yes.
Finland, if I didn't say that. So South Korea. That's kind
Nice.
of far away for European, but it's
Well, audience, those are the locations where the 612 are located. And again, reach out to Jörgen and his team on Zamboni.com. Jörgen, I want to thank you for spending the time with me today. Great information you shared with the audience. Always is a pleasure. And for the audience, Jörgen and I somewhat look alike. My brother from another mother, and I can't wait to see you face to face. It's been a long time, but hopefully soon, sooner than later, we'll be together and share stories and experiences and continue doing what you do best. And that's always train and sell the quality product that you do for your customers to give the best ice they possibly can to their customers. I want to thank everyone for listening into another episode of Ask the Zamboni Experts podcast. If you have a question for one of our experts or an idea for a future episode, please email your questions or requests to info@zamboni.com. For more information or additional podcast episodes, please visit zamboni.com/podcasts or search Ask the Zamboni Experts on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. This is Marty Elliott, your host, wishing you an ice day.